So what impact has gratitude had?
Yeah.
I think it's, so I know I got it from my mom.
She's an angel.
Yeah. The impact in my life, though, like, sorry, my mom came into my brain, and I don't know why I got emotional.
Tell us what
Edit.
you saw in your mom. No, we're keeping it.
Anyway, so I think then in my life, just seeing how, my mom's just sweet and peaceful and very grateful for everything that she gets in life. And she's also tried to provide a lot of things for a lot of people. And you want to be grateful to mama. And let's see, but I don't know, I'm fishing. I'm obviously thinking out loud.
I want you to fish. I think I want to hone in on this. This is a strength that you have that I want everybody to see what's inside and what you can do to attain gratitude.
I think it's a driver. Like, that was cool. That was fun. And I'm grateful for that experience that I was able to have. And when I hear gratitude, I connect it with service in my brain, like somebody's helping me out, and I'm grateful for that. And my whatever's going on in my life, and this thing's happening, and I'm grateful for that because of maybe other people who are doing things for me and helping me achieve goals. And then, just like I said, like a driver, like, okay, how can I feel that felt good, and I feel good, and I'm grateful for those things that I have, and there could be even more. Not that I'm not satisfied with it, because totally happy with it, but now it's maybe not like more of what's next. Yeah. How can I get that and kind of feel what's next? So gratitude maybe is a little bit of a driver in my life, kind of helping me motivate to experience that.
Today we had my childhood friend, I'm the oldest in my family, so kind of my big brother, Matt Smith, the older brother of Ben Smith, on the podcast. And we wanted to do this episode because Matt reached out about his passion for self-storage and storage units. So first half of the episode, we kind of go into an intro on storage, and then we get into a little bit more of the things that make Matt special. His gratitude, his perspective, his focus on relationships in his life. And so it's kind of a hybrid episode where we focus on an asset class and then on an incredible person, but I think everyone's going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. So just look out for his advice that he would give his younger self. I think that was really powerful, and just approach that he's taken to find peace and happiness here. So hope you guys enjoy.
This episode is brought to you by Big Storage Ventures. We are now inviting you to team up and partner alongside us. We bring our experience hunting storage deals and maximizing the self-storage asset to provide our partners with cash flow, tax benefits, and appreciation, all in one recession-resistant asset. Leverage our sister company, Big Ben's Moving Service, to fill your facility and give you an edge over the competition. Reach out to bigstorageventures@gmail.com or DM Big Storage Ventures on Instagram to team up. But I feel like last time we kind of laid out the chessboard, and one thing about us is we can kind of get on a rant because we're big nerds about it. We get really eager, and so
I love that.
A lot of times I had to pause and say, okay, what questions do we have so far? So far, what are you thinking?
Well, one of the few things that I wrote down, one of them was some of the reasons why I wanted to get into it. Some things that were attractive, and whatever I mentioned, I just had a much larger list. So not really questions, just some other things that were really attractive about the business for me from day one. And made a list of, I got at least half a dozen items. So that was on mine. And then just started to kind of think about what some of my skills were that could help me be successful in this particular business. Here's what I'm attracted to about it. And then I'm 42, and I kind of have an idea of some of the things I'm good at, some of the things I like, and how does my things that I'm good at, what I like, make me better if I go into this route.
Yeah.
And so then I started thinking about some of my skills and where does that fit into the business and questions like that maybe are a bit more detailed than we want for this. Like,
Sure.
you guys are like, here's how you get started.
Sure.
Tell me
the list of things that you got excited about. Like, what are the big draws for you?
Okay. One of the things that I think I mentioned was the low maintenance. It seemed really low maintenance. I could run it, I thought. It feels like I could run one.
Yeah.
So then another thing was the repeat customers. Like, a lot of businesses, you provide a service one time and they're done. They don't need you anymore.
Yes.
It's like, you do a good job and they say, okay, this is great. Let me tell my kids about you too. And then my kids are going to pay you their whole lives if they want to put their stuff with you.
Yeah.
Their whole lives.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I mentioned this. It seemed to me low cost to get into. And now with the different routes, maybe there is a low cost entry. The development is obviously probably, maybe not. I don't know. You guys maybe said not the highest.
Correct.
So I still got to think of that. But anyway, cost has some options to get in. You could come in at different levels, which is what you guys opened my eyes to. I kind of knew, but you just gave me more.
Yeah.
Should I keep going?
Well, I want to jump in on a couple of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So as far as the cost, right, there is deals of every size. And you're right.
Yeah.
It's definitely cheaper to build a 5-acre facility than buy one that's already full, right?
Yes.
I think one thing that people that get into the storage game have to really think through, and you can figure it out later after you've done it for a while, is, do I want this to be a business or do I want to create a job for myself, right? Because the storage facilities, you kind of have 3 options, right? You can be the manager, take all the calls, be the one that runs it, and then you create a new job, which can be great. You can hire it out, you can have someone else do all that, or you can automate, and there's some cool softwares that make it so it's pretty seamless. You'll still have to have boots on the ground, go sweep out units and help customers take calls, but the downside to automation is that it's really, really expensive. So people like me that we want to get the best return we can on this. We're kind of adverse to the automation. So I mean, I think a lot of people get in the game and then they realize, oh man, I just made a job for myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something to think through.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
good. No, that's good thoughts.
Yeah.
Which, have been a consideration of mine, kind of seeing how here's my path. And I think if I'm willing to take on this challenge, which is a major challenge, I want to make sure I'm kind of in a good spot, right? Anyway, so if it turned into a job with what I do for my work, I kind of am in a fork in my road over there too, where maybe I could start. I have a little bit of anyway, with work, I could invest more time there, or maybe do I want to try the storage now? And I'm leaning towards storage, obviously. And if it doesn't pan out, then maybe I can push this administration push in my employment.
Right.
So anyway, and right now I want storage for sure.
Got options.
Yeah. So timing wise, with where I'm at, right? My scheduling, like for example, on Fridays this semester, I have an online class from 1 to 2, and that's it. So cool. I got a lot of time.
Wow.
On Wednesdays, I have to, I want to get there, but on Wednesdays, I really don't need to be there till 4 p.m.
Wow.
Perfect.
So that's cool, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
here's some time that I can be like, I'm going to go to the office at the S, like Smith Southwest Storage, S.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm going to be in the office on Wednesdays and half day Fridays. So if it's a job, cool. I think I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Or does that time on Wednesdays go towards me pursuing another route in education or whatever, or statistics, or anyway?
And reverse.
And I want to fill that time with storage now.
Yeah, I love it. And reverse engineer your plan too. Are you one storage unit, one storage facility and done? Do you someday want to have a dozen storage facilities?
Yeah.
And you might choose something different because What we're doing is we want to own dozens of facilities, so we're trying to create an infrastructure.
That's with an S. Dozens.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you want that, you kind of have to reverse engineer, and you're planning for a lot instead of just, maybe one or two. But not everyone's the same. Like AJ in our calls, he'll have everybody kind of think to themselves like, okay, are you someone that just wants to own one and be the owner operator? Do you want to have 2 or 3? Do you want to have a big, dozens of employees?
Yeah. Okay. Or do you want a little piece in a whole bunch?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Some options. This one's doing really well. Or do you want a little, but this one's not? Do you want to help us with that one? Yeah.
Right. So I think casting your vision and trying to find out where the end is and is good to have in mind,
Yeah, no, for sure. I've been thinking about a few different things. Mainly, if we were going to get into it, I've been thinking a lot about, supply and demand. So just, we were talking, I don't know if we mentioned the story last week about, AJ, there was a guy that built a storage facility in the middle of nowhere. And it was during one of the most hype storage times in history, which is during COVID. So surprisingly, during COVID, while many businesses were shutting down, while real estate, some residential properties, they could stay in their houses without paying. They did that whole thing, in some states. Just a nightmare for landlords.
Yeah.
Storage was booming. Okay. And it's also tied to all the migration, all the changing.
Yeah, a lot of people moving.
We had
huge influx to Utah. You wouldn't want to go storage in California. Why would you be? I don't know. I'm totally new and novice, but I would say, it seems to me that people are running away, so why go there? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a mass migration for sure.
Yes.
Well, that's the idea is you want storage. A lot of the customers are going to come from, people moving. And so that was happening in Utah. Anyway, so this guy, he built a storage facility in the middle of nowhere.
In Utah?
We don't know. It was an example.
Yeah.
Okay,
kind of
thing.
Cool.
But,
no worries.
he built it and just was very successful. He was able to tap into some of this crazy demand. Probably from migration stuff. So next year he decides to build 7. So he started 7 projects all in a row, same model, found, wherever he, middle of nowhere land. And he's going to be in big, big trouble.
Man, yeah.
He's going to be in big trouble. So,
wow.
One of the other, I was just thinking about building a facility.
From 1 to 7.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, this was so nice. Just building wherever there's land. But the problem with that is, while the asset is an incredible, it's an incredible asset, there's still things that we can do to mess things up if we don't do it right.
You're right.
And the biggest one is demand. If you got to make sure you build somewhere where there's demand and make sure that you don't oversupply a location and things like that.
He needed a good data analyst.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, just kind of honing in on this, he was basically investing based off of his one success in cash out, where if he would, kind of do some forecasting, some data analysis.
Yeah, run an expected value on some of these. Yeah. You got to compare them to all sorts of places in there, and that's wild. To go from 1 to 7, does it serve him right?
Well, I don't think
I shouldn't. But yeah, you would think, you'd hope. That's wild. That I just can't believe you would go from 1 to 7. Like, let me start 7. Wow. The dude was all in. He was dedicated. He's like, look how well I did. That's cool. I want it. And let's go 7 times. Double? Hell no.
I don't think you can fault him for wanting to do 7.
More. Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
I think what you fault him for is not
location.
Just dove in.
Yeah.
Boom.
Not being
all
responsible.
All in.
Yeah.
Crazy. From 1 to 7. Let's go 1 to 1. Let's do 1 more.
Yeah, maybe 1 more. Well, the other thing to look into.
And then if 2 are good, then let's go 2 more.
Right. Yeah, you do it.
Wow.
1 at a time. But another thing to look into is that different unit mix So there's different unit types that might be more in demand than others.
Yeah, yeah.
So
like a place like this, maybe climate control, because it gets so freaking hot and we don't want our stuff melting and boom.
Yeah, and then but you'd also want to analyze, well, how much climate controlled is in this market. Because, okay, that's a thing. And then I would say how much has been built, and then we would analyze the demand based on the supply. So, yes, that might be what people want, climate controlled. But we could say, okay, there's thousands and thousands of square feet per customer. Maybe it's overbuilt. So we can do this type of analysis, which is good.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I like that. That's fun. That was like that was on my list, somewhere in here, just tracking and kind of personalizing the tracking, and it's not on this page, but how you kind of mentioned one thing that's really cool is the adjustability of it. So that's cool, what you're kind of alluding to here, and that's fun, just the numbers and investigation of it for me, as opposed to other businesses where there's not nearly as many numbers like that. We're just more concerned about customers coming in and getting your products sold. Like, I got to build this, and it's just such a different business, and the numbers part of it's appealing and low maintenance, and just on my list of these things I like.
Well, I was just thinking about low maintenance. I think when you think about storage being low maintenance, and Ben can speak to this a little bit because he owns the facility here in town, but I think it's in comparison to other real estate options. Yeah. So,
and once they're developed, I totally understand that getting it going is nowhere near low maintenance. I get that. Up front, it's going to be wild, but then you kind of settle in, and that's kind of the low maintenance part of it that I'm saying.
Yeah.
That I don't have to go anyway.
No, for sure.
So I don't want you guys to think that I think, oh, it's so easy, it's low maintenance. Yeah. You guys, this was so easy. Let me in.
But that's that's a huge selling point. It's for sure a selling point, and it is. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, compared to a rental property where you're gonna have just things could happen in a storage facility, but it's
like
just
a water heater goes out.
Yeah, like just all the little random things, and there's
a hole in the drywall.
Yeah, like so much that can happen there. I mean, storage facilities, you're gonna deal with
a few things,
drugs and guns.
Fix the gate. The gate got jacked up, and go fix that.
Someone's sleeping in the facility or something.
Yeah.
Walter White's hiding all his money in there.
Mm-hmm. Little things like that. But yeah, I mean, it could be less to deal with. You might be like, what, I'd rather deal with a storage renter than an apartment complex.
Yes.
All day.
Yes. I think I would.
And I agree with that. And I think that's where it is low maintenance.
We have landlords and we have storage units, and we call our landlords a lot more than our storage people.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah, you have to come less, traffic's less. I was driving over and I saw one of those strips on the road to a data box.
Yeah.
Where it counting the cars.
In Santa Clara.
Yeah.
By Dutchman's. Is that the one you
saw?
saw?
No, I saw one by Ace.
By Ace in Santa Clara?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my drive over here. But I was thinking about that because you're talking about data analytics. It's like, how much is it to get one of those and like get your own data and look up a road, like getting our own traffic counts on certain areas, when we're deciding to pick land. And
you buy a little Ring thing and tap into a free Wi-Fi and just watch it for a day, right?
Buy a Ring.
Buy one of the Rings and find a free Wi-Fi and set it up and hide it and then just move it in 48 hours to another spot you like. But anyway, you're right. We could do that. You could count
AI?
those.
Could we like a software that would count the cars for us? There's probably. I'd have to talk to
I'm
the
sure
data
there
guy
is.
at Dixie.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because Ring gets notifications of movement, and I bet you could like focus on this spot right there. When one goes by, count it.
Nice.
I don't know.
That would be sweet.
Who's the doctor that does data analytics at Utah Tech now?
So
that's me.
The main stats person's Dr. Lou.
So not stats. This is in business. This is in the business department.
On the business side, I don't know.
Okay. There's a guy that does information systems, information systems and data analytics. Mm-hmm. He's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
He's brilliant.
Cool.
And he does a lot. He did a project with some students. It was for the Zion's National Park,
Okay.
and they basically were doing this, counting traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to be able to. They used like cameras and designed it to count RVs versus regular cars and things
Cool.
like that.
Heck yeah.
He said one of the only problems they would run into is the RVs that have like nature painted on them, like the RVs that have like mountains and stuff in the background.
Okay,
He
yeah.
says like those ones are hard to count.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I thought you were gonna say maybe pulling a Jeep. They're like, then they get counted 3 or 4 times, and then they have mountains, so then they don't. Anyway. Yeah. So stuff like that's fun. When I see numbers like those, and I want to try to put them together and see what they say. That's fun. That's cool stuff for me.
Yeah, I'd love to introduce you. I'd love to introduce you to our storage coach. He's a big his brain looks like a computer too. You know? So
yeah,
I think that's pretty much, you know, a lot that you have going for you is once you had it going, you'd be able to analyze like how can I maximize revenue, right? And how can I use this to my advantage? At this point though, you know, we talked about kind of deal flow and finding the deals and all the barriers of entry. So I'd say now it's going to be a mix of getting a network, you know, like we're happy to help. But one thing I've noticed in storage is that most people are super happy to help. Like, you know, you've heard the phrase rising tides raise all boats. So people don't really want to cut people out as much as they do in other industries because one, if someone else is a good operator and you help them and they raise their rates, that allows you to raise your rates. And then it makes it so everybody wins together. Yeah. And, you know, you kind of never want to burn a bridge with another storage owner. Yeah. Because you never know if they might be able to, you know, if they will sell you, they'll sell you their facility someday or if they'll buy you out someday.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that goes, absolutely. You want to take care of the people in your industry because you never know.
Yes.
You scratch their back and one day, who knows, you got to. Yeah. I had a good friend in banking, you know, and I remember we used to play in a lot of golf tournaments and he was high up in banking, but any time of those little sponsors was a banking one, he was in there chatting cards like, yes, we're bankers. Who are you? We're bankers. And anyway, rallied his team.
Well, it's admirable. I mean, I don't know about banking, but I know that a lot of people are in storage. They're in storage for the freedom. Right, they're not in it for the prestige. They're not in it for. They're not in it to be sexy. Yeah, and so a lot of times, like they know what's motivating other storage owners, and that's freedom. And so they're gonna be willing to help you, right? So build a network. You already have a awesome. Like I love how you're always learning. A lot of people they learn all that they're gonna learn by the time they're in their 20s, and they just stop learning. Right? They just focus on, you know, other stuff. But one thing
so funny with my students when I get into that.
One thing about your strengths though is that you are always learning, adapting. And so I think, you know, follow the AJ Osborne podcast and, you know, read a bunch of books and dive in, but also don't be so focused on the learning that you know, don't dive in. I feel like sometimes people just they try to gather all the data, and the truth is you'll never gather it all. Right. So you got to act before you have everything you need, and you'll learn more. We've learned so much just from experience, just in a few months.
I bet. Oh, absolutely. Unreal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
With any industry, you got to say that. If I had some of my students for my first few years, the first thing I would say is, I'm so sorry.
Oh, man.
Because you just get better. You learn it, and you get better, and it's easier, anyway.
Right. Yeah, well, Ben's got a good point. I mean, just taking the step and acting, you know, going for it. It's a big deal. I mean, you can get lost in analysis paralysis and thinking about it and just never do it.
You're right.
And just to think that, like, if you're postponing to do it perfectly, you know, you might never do it.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
I was just thinking when the comment you made that Matt could bring the sexy back to storage.
Yes.
You could that's how you can market like a sexy storage facility.
Quad S. Smith Southwest Sexy Storage.
I like it, man.
Quad S.
Yeah. And then I got a son-in-law, Staples, who's business oriented and entrepreneurial
You should
driven,
meet Staples.
solid kid. And then that's the fifth S. Smith and Staples, 60 something storage.
It's a lot better than your brother's initials, BS.
I know. Yeah, that's funny. I got a buzz. Hang on. Oh, it was Ben.
It's Ben Smith. Call him.
I texted him a picture of you in the studio.
Talk about being a girl dad. Okay, boy dad.
He's
He's under a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah,
Because of school.
No, just real quick. Okay, so I got 4 girls.
yeah.
Nicole has 2 and 2. Andy has a 3 and 1, but boy to girl. Kim has a 3 to 1, girl to boy. So like the pattern, I had 4 girls.
Symmetrical.
Ben's got 2. Yeah, Ben's got 2 boys, and if he can go 2 for 2 on the boys, it's just wild. What are the odds? I'll tell you if he can do it.
If he can.
Anyway,
I think
so,
he would be
crazy, right?
He would be
funny, huh?
deprived of not having at least one daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he would be. He would
too
be.
bad
You
if
know
he-
that.
Yeah.
You guys know that. Wait,
Yeah.
2
One
kids?
of each. Yeah.
Yeah, one of each. That was
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah. So
Who's the older one? The boy
The
or
boy.
the boy? Okay.
He's Beckham's age is his Boston.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Boston's a boy,
Mhm.
and then your daughter's name?
Evie.
Evie. That's pretty. I like that, Evie. My colleague's daughter, he just had, was named Evie. Pretty
Oh,
name.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also a Pokemon.
Is it?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I want to get into that. I've
Pokemon?
tried, but I can't.
Pokemon.
The Go one, Pokemon Go.
I never got into that.
Let's
I
go,
just remember,
Bryn.
remember from when I was a kid.
No.
Never done it.
My 12-year-old likes it, and I've never done it. But Pokemon Go would be like, let's get on our bikes and go find Charizard.
It would bond
Just
you.
to-
I
Yeah,
guess.
for
I guess.
sure.
Yeah. To bond with your
For
son.
sure. That's why I'd do it.
Yeah.
Let's get on our bikes. Let's go outside.
Well,
Piss off, YouTube. I hate, anyway.
I hate YouTube.
Me too.
well, I mean, it's been a blast. I mean, tell me some of the things. You know, we said we want to talk storage, but I also want to pick your brain about some of the things that you feel like have carried you in your career in general, and just some of the things that you live by that you know, if you could share with other people, it would make everyone's life a little bit better.
Okay.
Life
Um,
advice.
Yeah. So are we starting to close the door on the storage?
We can keep.
Part
We
of
can stay there if you
conversation?
want.
Do you have
do you
more
have a couple
questions?
more things?
Eventually, we need to have a private conversation.
Yeah.
About
With
just
you guys.
next steps.
Yes.
I think we got to call our
With
guy.
money.
Yeah.
With money. Questions
We can
about
talk
my
about
money.
money.
That's a big one, like what to do with some money that I'm going to be having at the very near future
Oh,
with this
sure.
major fork in my
Okay.
road where I'm like, do I want to go admin? Do I want to go to SUU and get an admin license? And I could be the principal of Success Academy very easily.
Wow.
The guy in, I got to be careful what I say, but I could easily,
Have
I
an
am
admin role.
I am nearly certain I'm the next principal if I wanted it.
Nice.
So anyway,
Not
and I
everyone's
know-
able to stay motivated in education like
yeah,
you are.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of people.
and maybe his route's weird. His route is weird. He's a University of Phoenix Masters and just grew up as whatever, and I don't know. He's grandfathered in might help describe how he got where
Yeah.
he was, right?
Sure.
So anyway, when he's gone and he talks about 6 years retirement, 6 years, I just got to get through 6 years. And it's like, dude,
Get
go away.
this guy out
Go
now.
away.
He's doing a disservice to all the kids.
He is. But we got a new boss, and the new boss now that didn't grandfather him in is kicking his ass, which is great,
Nice.
which is good. New boss, fresh in August. So,
That's good.
and the new boss was always around. He's been around a long time and knows me really well, and I really believe he would give me the job. So with you guys and the questions, like,
Yeah.
do I push that? It's a little ways away, but then if I want it, I got to go get a license for that.
Yeah.
And with the license is great, and I qualify. And if I get it, and it's a nice salary, great
Yeah.
job,
Super
enjoy
chill.
it, super chill. Anyway, I think I could thrive there. I think I
Absolutely.
could be really good in that spot. So there's that, but then the money.
At that point,
And I got to know, do I take all this money and do I try to help and get in on an acquisition, a conversion? Do I look for land and go tell these people, look, I got the land now.
yeah.
Can you help me keep developing
Right.
this? Because I bought the land Help me.
At this point, it's up to, like, I mean, you talk about your career versus storage, right? You got to think, what are you going to look back on your life and be like, if you need to do that next step in your education and you could help a lot more people that way. It sounds like you could spread a lot of good, and you could also divide your time and focus in on a new niche that you're passionate about. Maybe there's a chance to do both.
Absolutely, because I know the admin route's a little ways away. He's
Yeah.
battling through 6 years so he can hit that 25-year notch. He's not even going for 30. If he hit 30, he'd hit this whole new world of money in his pocket. But he says, I can't. 25's enough for me. So if this money's going to be available in the near future.
Yes.
Before August.
So
I got to say, what do I do with it?
So what I did, I had $250,000, and this was in 2019. So land's gone up a lot. You know?
Right.
And so I got my first piece of land, and I learned through the School of Hard Knocks, right? Which there was, I had a little less risk because I had my moving company, which is why I think a bank moved on me. But
when you say the bank moved on you, they're like, okay, let's go.
Eventually, after dozens of rejections.
Dozens.
Yeah.
Local? I mean, is there even dozens of local banks to go look for a business loan?
I asked,
and you went around and
I asked some banks twice at different branches.
So even,
it's like going to
you could get a different answer at a different branch at the same umbrella bank or whatever, or the same Zion. You could go to this one or that one, and one might say yes, one might say no.
It's like going to one parent behind the other parent's back.
Yeah. Right? Oh, I feel that.
You
will too. And when you get number 2, you will.
You don't even tell them that you asked someone else at their bank.
Okay. Yeah.
You're like.
And they don't chat. They don't look that up. And
I think they do, but maybe
if it's the same one, I bet they do. Yeah.
After the first impression, you have a chance to make a first impression before they go and talk to their colleagues, right? Because if they like your deal, it's going to go before the review board at the bank, so they're going to chat with each other later. But you can make a first impression before they've talked to someone else about you. So the school of
wait, you said you had the land.
Yeah, I had the land.
And you went to the bank because you said, I would need to buy a whole bunch of blocks and metal and screws, and I want to build it now. We're ready to build. I got my plans. You had your plans for it, the blueprints that the engineers already put together and everything too?
It was kind of happening at the same time. But
okay. But you had some of that to present.
Yeah.
Like, here's my layout.
Exactly.
Cool. Yep. Okay.
So, but you could go that route. You could do it, and we would help you through it. Like, it would be a good option. It without having done it before, and without all your time to focus on it. 2 days a week is good. It's going to take a while. Yeah, and there's going to be stumbling blocks.
That's another thing about my employment is in the summertime. If I wanted to, I could take one class and work 6 hours a week. I could ask for 3 and try to work part-time, or I could say I don't want any this summer, and so there's more time for me to
probably what you're going to end up doing, I would guess, is you're going to end up hiring it out. Like, you might try it for the first little bit to just see how it is, but then you would train someone else to help you. I think I would encourage you, no matter what, to try to make this passive for you eventually.
Yes,
you might want to work in the facility for the first little while, just to say, I know you like to get your hands dirty. You're a framer.
I want to build it.
You want to build it.
Or I should say, if I don't build it, I want to be involved in acquiring it. I want to be involved in converting it.
You'd probably be out there, putting metal panels together, assembling the units. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
like that.
That's just your personality. But eventually you're going to want to make it passive, so that you can do that route.
Absolutely.
You could, you could go route with partners. We kind of already talked about that.
Find people looking to acquire and say, here's what I can bring. Is it really kind of that conversation that simple? You do the homework in finding people looking to acquire. The people that want to acquire need X amount of dollars, and they're like, well, here's my piece. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you're bringing value by putting everything together, right?
Yeah. I've got it. Here you go. It's worth something. Hopefully it doesn't turn into rainbow CTF NFT money. Those crazy people. You heard all that wild nuts, whatever.
Oh yeah.
The new anyway.
I was just thinking, like, mentioned this to Ben the other day, but it's just amazing what like the investment decisions will make. Like someone promising like rainbows and flowers and stuff, and people just jump on it. You know, it's like
all those new weird currencies is what I kind of meant. I think one of them has the name of rainbow, where you're not going to be exchanging money anymore, paper and coins and credit cards, and that now there's this new type of exchange of currency, and rainbow was the name of one of them, that it's going to be able to be turned off and on. That like you don't have money anymore, you have this rainbow coins. Yeah. And we can turn them off, so watch out.
The one that makes you laugh is War Pig token.
You
just trade your War Pig tokens instead of money.
Go ahead.
But yeah.
Anyway, so the acquisition is much less effort on my part as long as I have that to bring to the table. It's like, here's what I got. Can I get in?
And a big thing you gotta.
And it's kind of the same with. The last one, if you're going to change them, right? You find people interested and say, I can help out with this conversion.
Yeah. Well, I think you got to keep in mind too, this is one thing we grapple with quite a bit, is what are you you really don't know the future. You can have a pretty good idea, but what are you going to promise, right? Because we try to under promise and over deliver, but then sometimes people see our projections, they're like, hey, these look, this doesn't look like it would be great compared to some of these other options I have. We just have to be confident saying, hey, look, these other options you have, how risky are they? Right? Like storage is not a get rich quick scheme. You might have to be okay with a 5 to 10% return after the first couple, for the first couple of years, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And obviously in our minds, we're trying to go blow that out of the water, but a lot of times you have to kind of balance that. What's your promise going to be? And a lot of our value we add is in the equity side. So basically the equity you build over time, and we don't know when we're going to cash out, refinance, or sell. So we try to get people excited just about the cash flow, knowing that we have that ace in the hole, a cash out refinance at some point. So
and that was on my list too, property ownership. If you get into this, boom, there's my big piece of land that one day if I need to pull the plug, I know that's the ace in the hole if needed, which is great, which is awesome, which is more than like, oh, let me lease this space for my business that I want to try to sell this product from in this little space that I'm going to make. And if it doesn't go well and my lease is up, then I'm out. Yeah, and you probably lease land too in storage, I'm sure, but I'd love to find a land and say, there's my land. I'm going to build it, mine, and sell it maybe.
Yeah, have the option.
Having the exit strategy or exit in mind is really, really important. That's something I was thinking. Who's going to buy it at the end of the day? Those are things to analyze. And so you look at the size of your facility. You can narrow down who that market of buyers are going to be, depending on like the size and location of your facility.
Yeah.
So typically like the big money, the big institutional money, what is it? Like 30, 50,000 square feet that like no one's going to look at like the big institutional money. They're not going to look at it if it's less than 30, 50. So then who's going to buy it? Yeah. Just another mom and pop, who's going to have the money, who's going to be interested. So you want to think about those things. We have to think about those things. Like the exit, you have to think about, like you said, if I need to
dive in without a ladder to get out.
Yeah, yes. You want that, yes.
Yeah.
And with your chunk of money, right, you could say I could build a small one probably on my own, but then you have, the problem of you might not sell it for as big of a multiplier.
Yep.
If you're going to have someone sit in the office, you have to pay the same wage for someone to watch 100 units as you do 1,000 units.
Yes. Yeah.
So
right.
There's
the people answering the call, they get the same wage if their phone rings 100 times or 10 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are kind of the things you balance.
It's fun. Yes. It's fun. All these little variables that have their little impact that you need to address.
Yeah.
They must be addressed. And then the way you fix it, if it doesn't work, you try something else. That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
Right?
You're going to love it, man. I'm excited to see the journey.
So I put on here too that like family business, longevity, if I want to keep it in and hand it off to Gavin, Staples or whatever, and it's
lucky
an option,
to have you as a father-in-law. Cool. Already thinking about his inheritance. He's taking good care of your daughter.
Yeah. Gavin? He's listening.
Gavin, work hard. You're not going to get cut in unless you work hard.
Yeah. Grandsons. Granddaughters are cool. I got nothing against little ladies, but I want a few little boys running around.
Yeah.
I'm building pantries, and I told the guy building my pantries, I'm like, you've got to make these so that they don't just carry lots of cans of food, but all my little grandsons are going to be climbing around in here, and I don't want it falling down, all right? So give me some support. I don't care how it looks. I want it to be strong. And I use that. All my little grandsons will play hide and seek in my pantry.
Yeah, they'll be climbing up to grab the thing off the shelf, and one of those give out.
I know, right? So I told him that. So make sure that it's on you, Jeremy was his name. He's a good dude, this carpenter at my house. I really like him.
Nice.
He's a vet. Same age. Cool. I'm like 2 weeks older than him.
Wow.
Yeah, like 4 tours, blown up 3 times too, and just an awesome guy. Wow. Solid dude, and he's doing great. He had a tough time for a while. He's got a cool story. I'm glad he's at my house.
And he takes care of animals.
Yeah.
He's a vet.
He probably does.
It's a corny dad joke.
I bet he does. Yep. He sees a little beetle and he'll pet it.
Get us connected. We should hear his story on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
That'd be cool.
I really like him a lot more than some of the other guys that have been in that house.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, something I really admire about you, Matt.
Wait. Okay.
I mean, just transitioning a little bit. I just, I never forget. We had like a long, deep conversation before I ended up moving to Vegas with each other at the gym at the
HPC.
HPC,
and
and we were talking.
It's like the first time we really talked, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, we had
You never had my class, right? Dylan took a class from me. Chandler did. Were you ever in one of mine?
I tried to avoid it. I didn't want to take that hard math class.
I can't remember.
Anyway, we've always known each other. You've always been a lethal 3-point shooter, getting passes from Ben, and then we finally had a good chat, right?
Yeah.
We always knew each other, but we had a good talk then. So.
It was, yeah. I mean, I had a lot on my mind. You know, I was at a crossroads, and we just had. And one thing that I just never forgot about that is just, you know, your approach to life. I was very impressed by that. And it impressed me because it was like you were talking about just how happy you are, you know? You're like, man, I got it the best, you know? Like I show up at noon or whatever. Like I get to go to the HBC, I work out, I go to the office. He's like, I got my truck, got my family. And you had just we're just so happy and just so grateful for where you were at and what you were doing and had like, look at this, you know, cool thing that I have. And anyways, I just was always impressed by. I'm
glad I got to share that.
Yeah, no, and I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. Like you said, like you get, you know, you got a cool a career that has a very flexible schedule. You know, like you said, summer some of these days, and it's just really cool. And you go work out and enjoy life. And
I have a lot of good days. I get to help people and. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, I really like that. And the conversation we had, you know, was really cool. But I always admired that, you know, just approaching life. And because you could also be very bitter. You could choose to be very bitter if you wanted to. You could be like, oh, I'm a, you know, this, that, the other.
And this didn't work out. Yeah. I get that. No. And I've been lucky to be able to work hard and try to go after things that I wanted and to be able to be in situations that I could explore. A lot of people don't get that chance. You know, I thought I'd kind of explored a healthcare profession, perhaps.
I was just going to ask with your dad. I mean, did you not want to go?
That's all you ever heard, right? Was doctor, lawyer. When I was growing up, doctor, lawyer. So I dove into that and I got like 250 hours at the ER volunteering and realized I don't do well in hospitals. So then I thought
blood or just the stress?
And smells and the ER. So I went ER because I thought it's chaotic. That could be cool. This guy's got this problem. This lady's got this problem. This could be kind of cool.
I
think I could do ER because I don't know what's coming in the door. Right? Yeah. I thought that. And then I realized, hell no. The guy that came in the door is dead.
Or like I don't want to work on a dead guy.
Like, CPR. Up on top.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
the guy over there got kicked in the face by a horse, and that lady over there smells so bad.
Oh my
You don't know why.
I'm out.
It was like Nate, all the things that people stick up their butt.
Oh my god.
He just he just says that there's like just every day or week or month there's something crazy up someone's butt.
He's like, this guy's in here. This guy's in here for the 7th time. He shoved something else up his butt and he swallowed glass again.
Again. So
So
I
you said,
I got.
but what if you like went into orthopedics or something? Like,
So,
what if you didn't
yes,
have that?
You're right. So then I thought I love kids, and I tried pediatrics, and I shadowed a pediatrician for a while. Not too long. It was just a quick little experience that I saw he had to deal with that I said, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't handle that stress of these little babies.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of cool little situations and so fun, and these sweet little angels. I like kids.
Yeah.
But then,
When they're
like,
sick.
oh my gosh, or their parents.
Oh yeah.
The parents should be shot in the knee. Just in the knee for now. Teach him a lesson. Shoot him in the knee.
Just
Tell
neglect.
him fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You shouldn't be a dad.
Wow.
Anyway, so stuff like that. This dude came in and I was like, so I said, I can't deal with that. No. So then I tried business and other things about business, and I met Dr. Barrett, and I thought business could be really cool. I think I could maybe fit into this. And then whatever it was that, I got the things that turned me off to that, and then education kind of fit. And I was getting a little older, but I'm glad I kind of waited, and education fit.
Yeah.
And if I would have found it earlier, I'd be a lot closer to my retirement, but whatever, that's fine.
So what has gratitude done for your life, would you say?
So kind of referring to what Callan's comments were about, like how happy I've been with my situation in life, the ups and downs. Because if you would have seen me last night, you'd be like, well, that's not the Matt that said he was so cool, and that's fine. Oh, I moved this. Sorry.
It's okay. Just leave it, man.
Okay. So what impact has gratitude had?
Yeah.
I think it's... So I know I got it from my mom.
She's an angel.
Yeah. The impact in my life, though, like... sorry, my mom came into my brain, and I don't know why I got emotional.
Tell us what
Edit.
you saw in your mom. No, we're keeping it.
Anyway, so I think then in my life, just seeing how, my mom's just sweet and peaceful and very grateful for everything that she gets in life. And she's also tried to provide a lot of things for a lot of people. And you want to be grateful to mama. And let's see, but in my, so... I don't know. I'm fishing. I'm obviously thinking out loud.
I want you to fish. 'Cause I think I want to hone in on this. This is a strength that you have that I want everybody to see what's inside and what you can do to attain gratitude.
I think it's a driver. Like, that was cool. That was fun, and I'm grateful for that experience that I was able to have. And when I hear gratitude, I connect it with service in my brain, like somebody's helping me out, and I'm grateful for that, and my whatever's going on in my life, and this thing's happening, and I'm grateful for that because of maybe other people were doing things for me and helping me achieve goals. And then, just like I said, like a driver, like, okay, how can I feel that felt good, and I feel good, and I'm grateful for those things that I have, and there could be even more. Not that I'm not satisfied with it, because totally happy with it, but now it's maybe not like more of what's next. How can I get that and kind of feel what's next? So gratitude maybe is a little bit of a driver in my life, kind of helping me motivate to experience that.
Yeah.
It's like a calming thing, like, you're grateful for what you have. Like, wow, this is good, and it's peaceful, which is enticing, and you push for that.
I heard a quote last night, and I'm going to botch it. It's by Walt Whitman, and he said something like, happiness, not for another time, but for this time. Not for another hour, but for this hour. Just like the practice of being content with whatever you have, right? And
Yeah.
you said like
yeah.
last night wasn't so easy, right?
Yeah.
But I think gratitude keeps you grounded.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a grateful person, you're never going to get too high or too low, right? Because
Yes.
grateful people, they have that humility that's attached to gratitude, where on a bad day, they're going to use that gratitude and that humility to pull them up from their slump. And
Yeah.
if they also never get too high or too arrogant or too, take things for granted, because gratitude will bring you back to, hey, I'm not going to take this for granted. I'm not going to I'm not going to skip steps. I'm not going to get over the top about this, because I have that gratitude that's going to pull me back to where I need to be the best husband, father, family member, person that can look for opportunities to serve.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I got to use that as sort of with my daughter this morning, talking about getting knocked down, and we persevere and we see what went well and we build on it. And I told the class the other day that something I love about being human, I guess, is that we can act and record and like observe and improve, and it's just fun in this. And that plays a big role, like being just that sense of gratitude. Like you said, kind of leveling you out, having a good perspective on life.
Yeah.
I think the more perspective you have on life, the more gratitude will kind of flow in naturally.
Yes.
Absolutely. The more you see like what's going on out there, you'll realize, okay, here's where I'm fitting now in a grander scheme of things. And like, here's what I do have. And maybe the more you see, you might see, well, there's what I don't have. But then the more you see, you could be like, well, it could be that bad. It could be this good, but it could be that bad. And I'm grateful for where I'm at, and it can motivate me. So just experience enhances all that.
Gratitude is perspective.
Yes.
Right? Like you can't, yes, they have a little bit different definitions, but you can't really detach. If you have gratitude, you also have perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have gratitude without perspective.
Yeah, right.
And I like how you brought up perseverance too, because that's something that you have to have. I mean, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship, but for anything in life, right? Like getting back up is what makes people successful, because everyone's going to get punched in the mouth, whether you're, a math professor, a nurse,
a math student, Macy. Macy, are you listening? That's my daughter. She's taking university courses. So anyway.
And how old is she?
15, almost 16. She's young. She's a sophomore at Success Academy. Jeez. And she got punched. And this morning was just, come on, honey, I love you. Let's get up and go hard.
Wow.
I said, I'm not your friend right now. I'm your dad. Get up and let's go.
Wow.
I don't know if that was best, but you got to hear that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let them just quit.
I love that, man. And that's what you do to people you love, right? Like in talking with people, I think you sometimes go a little bit harder on them out of love.
Yeah.
And
I wish she knew it. She's going to know it one day.
Yes.
Macy, are you listening?
Well, if your dad didn't love you, he wouldn't push you, right?
Yeah.
If he was your friend, he would just let you go do what you want.
Yeah. If I was her friend, I'd grant her an extension on her test that's due today. I teach her college algebra class, and she hasn't prepared for this, and she's going to go into it and hopefully do well. And I could say, Macy, I'll set the due date for Sunday so you have more time, okay? I could.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to.
Wow.
She needs it, right? She needs a punch. And that's okay. If she scores low, it's not going to kill her. This will be good for her.
Yeah.
Can't just hold her hand, right?
Yeah.
It's so fun being parents, you guys. When they get bigger, and the phase you're in is now like keeping them alive, right? That's what you guys are in. Just keep them alive, keep them safe. And then when you get to start teaching and talking and playing, that's cool.
Yeah. You got to let them, just like, just like this life is for us. Like this life is the time for us to stumble, get punched in the face so that we can grow and become adults, right? I'm talking spiritual metaphor, but that's really cool that you call it out with your daughter, right? Because she's literally getting a chance, and you're not going to take away her opportunity to grow by pushing back her deadline.
Yeah.
So
She
that's
needs
really
to grow.
admirable.
Yeah.
I hope I would do the same thing in your shoes.
It's
I think
tough.
I would.
It's hard. Yeah, I'm sure you would. It's tough. You know, there's this time when your daughters and sons are going to get to some age, and you have to take off dad and turn into friend, or life's going to be tough. Maybe.
Yeah.
I did that with Caitlin, and what a turnaround in our relationship when I stopped being so much of the dad and said, okay, I've put in a lot of effort being dad. Let me try to be your friend now.
Wow.
And it was crazy the difference we had, and then opened up chances to be dad easier. So
dive in on that just real quick. So how does being able to be switch hats from friend to dad?
Yeah.
How does that work in tandem?
If they're just more open and you're their friend, and then you just drop these knowledge bombs on them a little bit easier, instead of being the dad that's a lecturer, being like, you've got to manage your schedule a little bit better, Caitlin. Your schedule, I think you should be doing this and do this with your time and your work, and talk to your boss like this. You know, that's like dad saying, hey, try these.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, now as a friend, you go, tell me about school. What's going on with school? And you're like, well, maybe what are you doing Thursday night? Maybe you could fix your schedule like that. Just a different approach. Like, let me talk to you as a friend, but in my brain, I know I'm dad, and disguise as a friend.
I like it.
Anyway,
That's good,
so
man.
you got to do that, I think. So my dad's great, but I don't know if he turned that on maybe early enough with some of his kids.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's a
He's
good
great.
It's a good balance.
Yeah. He was Mr. Military and a dad that was so hard on him. So he grew up, and I don't blame him, but I don't know. That's my dad, and he did great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What advice would you give your younger self?
What age?
I mean, let's say in your early
15.
20s.
Early 20s. So
'Cause that's-
early 20s, I had a
Most of our
child.
audience.
I had a child at the time, and I was framing houses, and I had a kind of, let's see, what advice at that point? At that point, I probably would have liked to have some more advice on how to communicate with my lady. Yep. That was tough then. We had a rough go. So that would have been good in terms of my relationship. We got a great relationship now, but we just didn't know how to communicate. We had no idea how to do it properly.
So to someone who might be in those shoes, like what are some of the big things on communication?
So I would say one of them, like one of the major hurdles that we are getting over is making sure we understand each other, and making sure that the words we use, we have the same definition. Like when I say the word, honey, this is a radical idea. She might think it's something totally different when I say that. You know, she could think radical like surfer radical like this is wrong radical.
Negative connotation.
Or radical like this is just a minority of people doing it.
Yes.
There's less than 1% of people doing this. That's why I'm saying it's a radical idea.
Yeah.
And she thinks you're saying it's a radical idea because they're evil.
Sure.
I'm like, no, I'm not. There's just not a lot of people saying it.
Sure.
That's it, honey.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. So chill out. All right. What do you want me to say? Like there's 10 people out of 1,000. Should I say that? Anyway, like that. I didn't know. And we had to really, like, we're trying to communicate way over there when we should have gone way back over there. Like, what's your definition of the word? If we're going to use words, let's define them.
Sure. That's hilarious.
Right? Yeah, you'd think that should have been. So a lot of that at that age. Life would have been a little easier at home that way. You know, work-wise, I was working a lot. I was kind of driven. I was framing and
Swinging the hammer, man.
swinging a hammer, serving Dr. Peppers at Pasta Factory, and doing night school.
Wow.
So maybe I'd say, go ask somebody for some money so they can put you through school quicker.
Yeah.
You need to get through school quicker. You are kicking your ass. you work so hard, not hard, time. You're
Yes.
putting a lot of time in. And maybe if somebody like came up with some money, you could knock out this school thing sooner, pay them back pretty quick, and you're at your goal 5 years sooner.
Yeah.
So let's take a little debt instead of trying to power through and pay for it all yourself, which we did. Shannon did.
Wow.
I just went to class and she found grants and scholars. I applied for 2 scholarships my entire time as a student, and I got one of them. And I think, what if I applied for 10?
10, yes.
Maybe I got 2. Anyway, so Shannon paid for my school basically, and
Wow.
she found money for it. And so I would have said that maybe. Try to get this done sooner. There's probably an easier way than you working this hard. It's hard.
If you're a college
gone
person,
a lot.
get
You're
it
gone
done
a
as
lot.
fast as you can, because
Yeah.
one thing is you're never going to want to go back.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
I speak from my own perspective. Like,
Yeah.
you're never going to want to go back to school. So
Yeah.
if it's a goal
keep
you have,
the momentum going.
yeah,
So I love summer classes because it was the same amount of credits, but it felt like half the time.
yeah, pretty
Even
much.
though you had the same amount of classroom time on a calendar, it was less. So I like those. Like let's go. And
Yeah.
so relationship wise, communication, work wise, like try to be a little smarter with how hard you're working. You know, maybe you could use a little help, and there's nothing wrong if somebody can help and you make sure that everybody's okay with how the help comes. And
Yeah.
so, and then family, I think, I only had one. Caitlin was around, and I don't know. I think with Caitlin, it goes with if I would have had more time. But the time I spent, I thought I was pretty good with her. Pretty good dad, usually.
Yeah. Time's a big one too, because you can't get those moments back, right?
Yeah,
So making
yeah.
sure you set aside time, no matter how rigorous your school or work or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big one.
So I may have mentioned this last time, but my boss right now, my current boss, not the one that's got to go,
Right.
the other guy that's really cool, Ben's his name.
Yeah, of course. Have you ever met a bad Ben?
Nope. So I was telling Ben, I'm like, Ben, this house I'm building is taking so much of my time from what I wish I was working. Just so you know, Ben. All right, Ben, I wish I was here more and not at my house.
Yeah.
1. When the house is done, Ben, I'll be back at work, okay? And then 2, I said, Ben, I also have to transport my daughter almost daily to and from campus, and that's taking a lot of time from work. And he says, that's fine. He goes, it's time with your daughter, so enjoy it. And I was like, awesome. That's great. Thank you. I didn't really think about it like that. And I thought, okay, I'll try that. And then Macy still doesn't talk to me. But I thought, okay, I'll try to adjust that instead of thinking, okay, 30 minutes. I got to drive her to Snow Canyon and get her, and I got to get back to work.
Yeah.
That's 30 minutes that I should be doing emails or checking my numbers or something. But
That's
now
really
I
cool.
think, okay, 30 minutes I can be with Mace. See if I can get her to laugh once.
Well, it shows he's a good teammate in your work environment, right? Because
he's a good guy.
He probably wants you to be with your family more than he
Mhm.
wants you to perform at work.
Yes.
Which says a lot about him.
Yeah, he's great. He's a good guy. Really like him.
It's rare and powerful, but it reminds me of just like enjoying the journey
Mm-hmm.
and how easy, going back to kind of what Ben said, how easy it is to just get lost in the day to day and realizing like, today, what I'm doing today, enjoying today's journey can change your life and just realize, like, instead of always thinking, well, when I hit here, when I get this, or when I get that, and you're just chasing and never
Yeah.
happy.
Right. Like that happiness quote he was saying, right? That you can't just chase it. It's like it just is.
You got to decide.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there was one, I'll probably butcher it too, but one was like happiness is not a destination. It's life or something.
It's a
like
journey,
that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Like you're in it. You're already in it. You don't need to go to it. You just say, I'm in it already. And let's have it with us.
Yeah. If you look back on the past, or you're always looking forward to the future, I can get that. I'm a dreamer, so I can get in
Good.
that where like I dream something big, or I have something on my calendar in a few months, right? And that's what I'm thinking about when it's like, I got to enjoy every single second of every single day, you know? So it's a good reminder.
Yeah. I wish I could get that into just some people close to me. It's hard. Sometimes like either you got it or you don't. Some people don't have that. It's like they never have. And will they have that? Like just mindset, that mindset. How much of that are we just born? You're an optimist or a pessimist? How much can you adjust that?
I think you can choose. I think anyone can choose.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just takes.
And it's just so much more natural. It's crazy. It's so weird. What an odd emotion in the way our brains work.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we started in on the gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Did we explored that a little bit, like and how gratitude in our lives can really help. Did we move from gratitude yet? Well, not officially, but maybe in our little conversations.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about some of the shoot-offs of gratitude, right? Like gratitude is perspective. Gratitude will lead you to persevere. Some of those other things, you know, like we talked about the things you'd advise your younger self, like communication.
Okay, then we went that route.
Yep.
Yep. We went that route. Your younger self. Where are you going to go, younger self?
Right.
It's crazy. The younger self is that long ago.
Yeah.
To me, you're still. That's when I met you. Was in your early 20s, right? And
I think, probably. Yes.
I met Ben playing basketball on your porch, and you were still hanging out, man. Like you weren't always there, but you were around.
In Ivins. You were out in Ivins, out on the porch. Do you know the year?
Driveway. Yeah, the year would have been probably like
2000? 01?
2004.
4? Okay. Yeah. I would have been about early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of time. We had a lot of good memories out there, and hearing you talk about your parents and how they're your role models is a lot of fun because they helped raise me, you know?
Yeah.
And a fond memory I have is when we went to, you know, we would always do fun stuff. Like I think a lot of your music trickled down to me and Ben that we like, you know, like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jack Johnson.
Yeah, great.
You know, there's a lot of those influences, and then
that's fun.
We would do a lot of fun stuff. I mean, the big one is the lake. We would go to the lake a couple times.
Yeah, we had some fun lake trips.
And they would cheer me on. I would do a big moon crusher routine.
Yeah. That was the name of it. It was wild. It was wild.
So you turned Ben Smith on to Jack Johnson? Because he says that he's the Jack Johnson king.
He didn't find Jack Johnson.
He didn't find it. But you know what? Kim, my sister, said, Matt, have you heard Bubbly Toes by Jack Johnson? I'm like, no.
That's awesome.
Try this. Kim.
It was Kim?
Kim gave it to me.
Oh, it's good to know where that
you gave it to
originates
Ben.
from.
Yep. And then we blew it up.
Well, it's always been fun for me because as long as I've known you, you've been a dad. You've been a lot of fun. You have had that perspective. I mean, I'm sure it's gotten deeper over time, I think, but I think you've always had that positive perspective as long as I've known you. Anyways.
Yeah. I try to keep it up, you know, but life, there's a battle. And you, like you said, you just try to maintain that positive perspective. And my dad was just telling me the other day just how, you know, just kind of different things are and how life can just make it like that from when you're 20s till now. Look how far and how different of a man you are, even though you were a man then and that amount of time. You know, how you deal with people in your family and how much it's changed. And I don't know. It's been a wonderful life and will continue to be, but I don't know. It's just the wonder. I'm not sure where routes go. That's just tons of fun. And I hope I can stay positive through it all. I hope life just keeps being so kind to me. Life's been kind to me. You know, I've worked hard to kind of help it be that way, but I hope I can keep that up. And all that was in me and still is, and I don't see why it wouldn't. It's just kind of me and growing.
It's a part of you.
It's tough. It's exciting to go back and listen to these maybe like right now, and you guys are 42 and think that's what we used to kind of think. That's what we used to think. And it's quite a journey.
You kind of talked about getting through the tough times. Outside of gratitude, what is it that helps you kind of think of your hardest challenges. What is it that helps you overcome those things?
So, the biggest challenges in life, I tend to go, one thing that really helps, I think, is my patience with trying to make decisions sometimes and seeking out information, all the information, and just trying to make things better. When I'm faced with serious challenges, I feel like I don't know if I'm good at it because it's just me and my brain, but I feel like I can analyze it. And I've never liked the word sacrifice. I like the word, that's the better choice. There's a choice, but that one's a little better. So I'm not sacrificing anything. And it's just, let me analyze this in perspective and think and patient and try to make the best decision. Where a lot of times I'm accused of you just have to be right. And I honestly and sincerely think, okay, I just feel like it's better. And if you can convince me otherwise, please do. I'm begging you to give me something. But as of right now, I got to make this decision. So the patience is great, and not waiting too long, and being able to talk to people that I love, intelligent people close to me, and get their ideas, and then make a decision.
I chuckle when you say I've been told that I always have to be right, because every Smith has a headstrong personality. Okay. Every single Smith.
Yeah, they do. Yep. From the old man. You can't get anything on the old man.
I know.
You can open it in his face. Like, look, say it. And he'll go, you're 0.
I've tried before, but it's a good trait to have, that you guys are also headstrong. It does have a double-edged sword, but I also think it's interesting. Patience came up too. Okay. Because I lack patience. Okay. Right? Like I have discipline on some things, but I wouldn't say that it's like a strong suit. But okay, I think patience has to do with the long game, right? Patience has to do with winning in the end, and and being willing to,
being okay with not perhaps feeling like I'm in a disadvantage, maybe. Being able to wait, like, do we need it now? Give me a minute. Hang on. It's like, no, come on, go, act. And in my relationship, that's been a serious problem, my patience. Like, hang on, honey, hang on. Like, no, she says. I'm like, I can't yet. Give me a minute. So sometimes it's been hard. It's been created more of a problem. But I think in the end, overall, it's a positive part for me, is my patience, trying to deal with my challenges. Sure. And my willingness and the enjoyment I get of analyzing. And like, okay, well, what about this perspective? Maybe that's better. Or maybe this one's better. And I think this is best, honey. So we're doing it. Oh, you just have to be right. Well, I think it's best. What do you think's best? And then I wait. And if she has something, yes, good. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, patience.
So a lot of my hurdles have been in relationship-wise with my lady, and she'd be okay to hear that. We've had a rough go, but we've had so many super highs and crazy lows. You know a little bit of my background. I don't know if you do, Callan, but Shannon and I have been married twice. I tell people I love her so much, I had to marry her twice.
I didn't know that.
So Caitlin was born when Shannon was 19 and I was 20, and we got married when Caitlin was about 1.5 years. And then we were married for about 2 years, and then we divorced for about 2 years, and then we got married again.
Oh, so it was in your 20s?
Yes.
All of it?
Yep. Probably married first time around 22, divorced around 24, married again around 26-ish, something like that was my little time frame. And then, so, major hurdles.
Yeah.
And so when you say that, what's helped you? those were my first ones. And then maybe in employment, I might have something else. Or in
Yeah.
my personal fitness, maybe it's something else. Like patience is not what's helped me through my personal fitness. I want to get in shape. I'll just wait.
Analyze that.
I'm just going to wait.
Yes.
What's the best way? I'll
Well,
sleep on it.
You have been disciplined. You've been patient to see results. You still go back over and over and over,
Yeah,
even though you
yeah.
don't see it
There you go.
instantly.
Yep,
That's
I
a
do.
good
I
take,
love
too.
it.
A lot of the things it's just delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like investing and in life and finances and stuff, it's like, yeah, you could go out and you could use your money and build a big old, twice the size of the house, or get a twice the size of the truck, or
Mhm.
whatever. Or it's like, or you could live within these means and you can buy a bunch of storage facilities, or like invest in other things. And it's like, that stuff takes delayed gratification
Yes.
and takes patience and analysis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well-
and I'm into that, Callan. I like that. I get kind of a little more of a thrill about what could be. I don't want it now. I want to know what could be.
Yeah.
If I know it could happen, that's even a little more exciting than it happening right now.
Right.
If I could build to it and make it better,
Well-
and that delayed gratification, that you got to be willing to do that. Not, I want it now. Let me put in the time because I know later it's going to be so much better.
Well, I know you have a thought, but something that I really admired from things you were saying, it's just you were saying how, you were focusing on some things in your life. You're focusing on your family, focusing on your kids, focusing on like you're building your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like being patient to hit the grind. Now you're like, your mind's opening up to, hey, I could start grinding again. I could start, doing some of these ventures and going all these places and doing things, but it's a little more strategic. And like you invested that time into this part of life, and it's like that's going to be there for you even if it's in your 40s. It was there for you in your 20s, and you could have been at a different spot, but it's there for you still in your 40s. And you focused on first things first, and it's kind of being patient for you to like, now's the right time for you to run in. That was the right time for relationships. It was the right time for you in your life, but now you're thinking, now's the time for me to run into this.
Well, I think what I'm learning is that patience is only a virtue if the opposite of your decision would be giving up, right? So if you're deciding between giving up, the opposite of that is patience. But then there comes a point where the opposite of patience is decisiveness, and that's when it's good to. Then it's really not really patience; it's just dragging it out at that point. So it's basically holding out till the right time is what patience is.
To make the best decision.
Yeah. I like that. And I like
There's
also
some quote that says, like, if you correct a fool and he's going to get pissed off. Like, you tell a guy he's wrong, and if he's a fool, he's going to get mad. But you tell a wise man he's wrong, and you show him he's wrong, he's going to be grateful.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that kind of deals with patience and decision making and just the best, and being, let's slow down and get the best one. And if you got something better, cool. I'm glad I waited to kind of get that, but then be decisive. Don't wait too long. Then you wait too long and the door's closed.
It's all about,
you got to act.
Yes.
well, that goes back to mindset, right? Because someone that's receptive to feedback has a mindset where they're not insecure. They have an abundance mindset. They don't feel like they have to be right? They're happy to get the feedback, where people that aren't going to take the feedback, that's a big, that's
tough.
That's
hard
going to
to deal with
stunt your
that.
growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to get past,
Absolutely.
even if you've got somewhere with what track you're on, if you can't take feedback, you're pretty much damned. Like, you're never going to keep going.
Right.
And I think it's really important to hone in, like, as we've talked about the highs of your life, the priorities of your life, the biggest things that you wish you gave yourself advice on, the biggest things that you are, the biggest struggles have all been around relationships and people. And I think it's so important that we do focus on those relationship skills, those soft skills, because in business too, but in our families, like, that's really what we get to take to our grave, is like our relationships, right? Our experiences in our relationships. And so that's kind of what Beyond Net Worth is all about, is we get the relationships and we put those ahead of business. Everything else will fall into place. So I really appreciate
absolutely.
that.
And it's just one thing I admire about you guys, and especially at the Big Ben's Movers, in the relationships. You're customer driven.
Yeah, we
your
try.
Your product is expensive, but it's worth it. Because you take care of your people, and they're going to call you back and be like, okay, so maybe Ben was a little expensive. We tried this guy, and this guy was trash. Let's call Ben again. Thank you, Ben.
Because that's what your product is, right? Like your product, no one cares about your truck. No one cares about your dollies. Like every moving company has those, but what sets people apart is the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
I've been loving this, man. I think there's so many takeaways. We've got to talk about storage a lot and kind of do an intro into that. And so we're going to have a lot longer journey with that. And then I also love that we got to talk about some of the things that have made you happy and successful that we can pass along to other people too.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned the first time we met that you wanted to kind of reach into that field a little bit. And are we closing that? Or are we okay?
No,
I don't know, like me and life.
Give us a
and
few
what
more
you
things
want.
on you.
I don't know. I just, like we mentioned, gratitude. And what advice would you give your younger self? Is this kind of something you guys do with most of your guests? Those questions? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we usually we like to hear pivotal moments. You know, like you almost opened up to one with your mom. You know, you almost why your mom, you know, you are the way you are, you know, and maybe there was something that come to your mind, but we love to hear some of these crossroads, you know, the challenges people have gone through. What was that like? How they overcame them? And so, we like to ask all these kinds of things. And
good. That's fun. That's great.
It's really fun. And this has been a little bit, you know, different. We kind of been, you know, just a little more like, not like just B&W.
We spent half the episode on an asset class that we're really passionate about,
right.
But that's how this got started. Was we were talking about an asset class that we're both really passionate about. But the reason why we had you on the podcast was, one, to get into that together, but two, because we wanted to hear more about what makes you tick. You know what?
Okay.
I think there's people that will benefit from a lot of these lessons that you've learned that you can, because really our audience is your younger self. Like those young guys who are hungry and girls and people that want to improve themselves and do business ventures and do self-improvement.
Yeah.
Well, and
that's fun.
With that said, are there any last words? Is there something that's on your mind? Is there, any final takeaways?
One thing that I want to say too is that I'm extremely impressed with you two gentlemen and the path that you've taken in your life. And I'm not one to like, oh, you said something so nice to me, I got to look for something nice to say to you.
Yeah.
I appreciate all those, and I'm not so concerned about returning compliments. But it's absolutely deserved in your case. I can remember one instance, very young, when Ben was framing with me and you were trying to get Big Ben's Movers going. And you made this little comment, and just in passing, like, you guys have the good job. I got to go move these old people.
I don't remember that.
And I said, you're crazy. Don't you dare think that we have a better job than you do. We're going to go work for an hourly wage, and you're going to go tell those old people how much money you want. So calm down. You're in a good spot.
Fair
you
enough.
Little 18-year-old boy with your little trailer thinking life sucks, moving old people. You're onto something, Ben. And I remember that little snippet once. And then
you saved the business, Matt.
No.
You saved it.
Watching it just blow up is so cool. And then also, Callan, watching you with your path and making a major shift in a path at a stage in your life, it's so risky. And diving in and being like, that's what I want to do. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to go try this now. And like a huge risk. I think the risks I took were not nowhere near the risks you guys have. And for that, I think that's awesome. I think it's so cool. And I want to try. I'm just not as daring or handsome as you guys.
You are. I've seen you do gainers off cliffs.
Yeah, double back. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
I threw a double back.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. So I wanted to say that. I think this is great.
You.
I think this is awesome, and I'm glad to kind of have to be a little piece of it and to be able to ask you guys questions about it and be even perhaps involved with you guys in the future on some things. So I think that's cool. That was one of the last words I want to say. I want to make sure you guys know that I have a great deal of respect for your lives and what you've done in your young lives too.
Thank you.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome, working with Ben, because it's, like you said, it's just really cool to see the success he's had. And so we have like maybe a minute or two left. Yeah. So now maybe hone into just again going to this final advice.
Yeah.
Maybe think about your kids.
All
right. Okay. You have an open platform. They could see this in 30 years from now.
Yeah. Wow.
So what advice?
You have dementia, but you want to give them some wisdom while your mind is sharp.
Wild.
So what is that wisdom? And
one thing I want to say first is I hate how emotional I get. I got to put that up front, that I have these little connections in my eyes with my kids and I get emotional. So when you said kids, tell your kids, I got a little nervous, like, oh, don't cry.
Don't shy away from that.
I hate it.
That's a manly
thing. It bothers
thing.
Me now.
It's okay.
I agree. But I'm 42. So hang on. I've lived a lot longer than you, and I've cried a lot more, and it's getting annoying. When I was 26, I would have said it's manly. My lady likes it. She slaps my butt when I cry. So watch this. And now at 42, I'm like, grow up. Get over it. Just talk like a man. Anyway, so to my kids, I would tell my 4 beautiful daughters, they're not so young anymore. They're getting into this life and starting to figure it out. So I tell my kids a lot. They've heard this, so I want to try to get something new too, but this is for all the other kids too. Like with my kids, I have a tripod in life, and my tripod is peace and love and happiness. And I'm like, a tripod never teeters. If you got a chair with 4 legs and one of the legs is off, it's going to teeter. So when you get a tripod, that's solid. If you get 1, it's solid. 2 is solid, cool. They're not going to teeter. 1 can kind of do this. 1 is going to go all over the place. But you throw down 3, right? You ain't going anywhere. You set it up nice. Nothing's moving. And that's your peace, love, and happiness. I'm done. Stop it. I'm sick of it. So I'd remind my children of that. And then I'd say, here's what I want you girls to do from now till forever. I think I'd say, I want you to decide what makes you happy. Gosh. I want you to decide how to love. And I want you to pick how to be peaceful. And I don't want you to let other people tell you how. So I don't know if that picked up, because I'm a big boob that just cries too much, and so it would have been like, okay, these things are great in life. These 3 things are a wonderful platform, and I want you guys to figure out how to build those your own. There's not a secret recipe. Maybe you find a recipe that works for you, okay? But don't be afraid to go find your own. Yeah. I think that would be it too. Instead of just saying, let's focus on these, okay? Then I would take that next step. You find your way to do it, because I know those are good things for you to have in your life, so figure them out and go push them.
I've almost like some ownership for your own happiness.
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
ties
yeah.
in. It ties in, but almost like, hey, go take life by the horns, right?
Yeah. Right.
You decide. You take this life. You
Mhm.
you don't take anything for granted, and you go find what
Yeah.
you're passionate about, what brings you love, peace, and happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't let anyone tell you different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you like it, okay, don't be shy about it.
Yeah.
If you like it, you say, hey, I really like this. This is cool to me. Go say it to someone. Go tell them. Don't be scared to be like, I shouldn't like that. And maybe you shouldn't. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't. But you need to tell somebody that you do. And then move on from there. But don't just hide and think, I'm scared.
Don't shy away from the conversation.
Yeah. Go be you. You do you. So that would be one. You do you?
The big takeaway.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so some of that. And I'm sure that as soon as I leave this home, I'll think, why didn't I say that? Why didn't I say this? And I should have said that.
That's why we'll have a
it always
sequel.
happens that way.
I know. It drives you nuts, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But we appreciate your time, man. It's been great, and it's been a good experience for all of us. I'm glad we made it happen. If for no other reason, just to have this is the longest conversation we've ever had. You know, no phone, just focusing and learning, and can't thank you enough for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
I'm glad that you were willing to reach out to people interested. I'm glad that you set it up with Callan and got us on the computers and the cameras and can go back and review it.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded it, we can review it, and we improve.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we repeat, right?
Right.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, cool.
Hey.
Okay.
That's been a great episode of the Beyond Networth Podcast.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So glad to be here.